she snuck through the cracks to get this DNA result out there. The mainstream media have realized how that goes against their narrative, the official government narrative. And now all hell's broken loose. The stormtroopers have snatched her from Bristol Airport, and they are reversing that narrative ASAP and going back to the original narrative. And the sad thing is, Julia, her heart was up in the stratosphere. She was so happy of the recognition she was getting and all the love and support that was coming in from all over the world. So this is absolutely heartbreaking for all of us who have supported Julia on her journey and said that she has got the right to tell her story, whether you believe she is Maddie or not. And don't take that right away from her. And the whole thing behind her telling her story, the emphasis is do the bloody DNA test, UK Gov. Put this poor girl out of her misery once and for all. A DNA test certified by the cops. And you won't be spending thousands more legally processing this woman as we speak, which is a complete waste of time and resources when you could be using that money to go after people who harm kids. You're telling us that you don't have the resources to go after people who harm kids? And yet you are spending all this money housing Julie right now. Bristol police. It's terrible. And how many cops did it take to get this harmless lady off a flight? All right, going back to the article. This particular announcement refuted the claims previously made by private investigator Dr. Fia Johansson, who just tried to snatch Julia up and use her, and was one of the reasons when Julia came to us, she was so burnt by this Fia woman that she thought we were going to do the same. But she's realized we're not like this Fia woman, and we've all become good friends. Fia in 2023 shared Van Delt's DNA results that said she was, in fact, fully Polish. Van Delt said she had previously been struggling to understand those results from almost 2 years ago and claimed Dr. Johansson was not telling the truth, which the investigator categorically denied. Meanwhile, part 2 of the new DNA results were analyzed by the highly respected and recognized world expert Dr. Monty Miller and shared by Julia. After interpreting the DNA, Miller, who has a PhD in biochemistry from Loma Linda University in California, delivered an update to Van Delt, who had previously been described as a fantasist. Miller's email to her read, "The simple answer is that the suspect is not the source of the DNA on the evidence because the DNA is not fully established everywhere. However, they do match fairly well, more than I would expect at random, and a specific pattern emerges that looks like an almost certain family connection." Julia previously told the BBC's disinformation and social media correspondent Mariana Spring how she was essayed as a young child and said she first started believing she was Maddie after seeing resemblances between sketches of suspects and her abuser. She claimed this led to her suffering from gaps in her memory, which caused her to become suspicious about her upbringing after her parents dismissed questions on whether she was adopted. Julia also said she was never shown photos of herself in her early years or a birth certificate, but her parents had quickly refuted this and provided evidence. So, we've got almost 4,000 watching live across all platforms. The vast majority of you Support Julia's right to tell her story, whether you think she is Maddie or not. And we really appreciate that. And it's a sickening waste of police resources that it has got to this point now where she's been denied over and over again a DNA test, which costs £100, a couple $100. And if you have watched the series we've done with her, I've just put the link in the chat to all the episodes. I think there's 12 of them. Every week she has come on and blown us away with more and more evidence supporting her case. All right, so I've got an email here from Merv. I'm reading it. Lawyer connections. Yeah, good on you. That's what we want to hear. Get the legal powers. Get an army of legal powers built up for Julia. Please do the live you've planned for Friday about Julia. Nadine saying that. Well, Julia was going to come on, and hopefully Julia will be doing it from my house because it's Wednesday. Put one in the chat if you want to see Julia go live from my house with baby Ziggy, talking about what she has just experienced. Put a 2 in the chat if you would rather not see that. I see lots of ones coming in. Yeah, look at this. Bristol, like many of the areas of the UK, is sitting on a grooming gang scandal involving fruit and veg pop-ups. It's meant to be bad. And, from our guests that we've had on, it's all ones. From our guests that we've all had on, talking about these gangs, working with the government, especially the Labour government, getting them votes so they can be protected. They reckon there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of girls, survivors. And we've possibly got one coming on Wednesday night who was R-worded hundreds of times. Horrific story, but she's a power speaker. These corrupt councils in on this sickening crimes that have been allowed to happen up and down the country. Yet Julia Vandel lands at Bristol Airport and they know she's coming, this harmless young woman struggling to tell her story. They've got all the resources in the world. They're saying that so many cops arrested her. Onlookers were terrified. That is an absolute bad use of resources. And you know what? We have interviewed cops, ex-cops. We can only interview when they're ex. And they come into the police forces to arrest the predators, arrest the gang members, arrest the R-worders, arrest the unalivers. And this is not the fault of the cops, what's just happened to Julia. It is the people controlling the cops. And these cops we've interviewed tell us they wanted to arrest the R-worders, etc. And they were told to do this and that and generate revenue and politics this and that and to leave these people alone and go after these people. And they found it absolutely sickening. But what could they do? They were young, they were idealistic, they were obeying orders. The whole justice system is upside down when people like Julia, a harmless young lady struggling to find out her identity, and who wouldn't want to find out her identity? And I relate to Julia because my mum was told by a doctor when she was a teenager, by the way, do you know you were adopted? She did not know she was adopted, and her world was turned upside down. And she lived with trauma and anxiety and depression. for decades, struggling to find her identity, to find out who her real natural parents were. She was blessed to have the best adopted parents in the world, Nanny Florrie and me Jan. But that announcement from the doctor telling her she was adopted changed her life. And that is why I relate to Julia all the more, because of what my mum went through. She has been suicidal, worrying about her identity over the years, suffering depression. She wrote a book, The Blue Plastic Cow, about how she suffered to find her birth parents. This has become her lifelong mission. And it's because of the heartbreak of what my mum went through. I relate to Julia and I support Julia all day long. I did start a petition for Julia, and it went into the Bermuda Triangle, disappeared off the face of the earth. They wouldn't accommodate it, the UK government. And Ron is back, and he's got a development. I can tell by the look on his face.
Ron's apparently every single number in Bristol just isn't answering phones today. So I phoned every single number that was listed for a police station in Bristol. They all just rang out, or I left a message with one of them, and that's that. Now, what was Julia doing here? That's what I'm in correspondence over. And rather than make it all public and talk about it, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to talk about somebody had their head up their backside when they thought it would be a good idea for Julia to just hop on a plane a week after getting this result.
Is your gut suggesting there is a manipulation here, or is it naivety?
Don't both go hand in hand?
Yeah, they can. But yeah, they are not mutually exclusive, correct? Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much on anything. I would rather let Ron cook. Let Ron cook on this, all right? Because this could be nothing or it could be something. It could be, and when I say that, it genuinely could be. Because if this had been planned for days, according to a contact, and there's at least 2 other people that I know that I can speak to that had knowledge of her coming here, why would they have suggested that she come here? You know, it doesn't make any sense to me, because they're going to be looking for any reason to grab her.
Well, off the back of being that hot in the media, it was the worst possible time to come to the UK.
And I think she knows I would have said that to her.
Which is why
hang on a second. Is that Sheen? Yes, Sheena, right. Sheena, I'm going to put my email in the side chat right now because I can't get in contact. I have no way of getting in contact with you. I'm putting my email in right now, Sheena. Fire me an email with a way of getting in touch, and I'll call you right now.
For those tuning in, Julia has been arrested at Bristol Airport for stalking and harassment.
Damn it, man. Right, emails. Get the emails up.
Yeah, the reason that she didn't say anything to you is because she knows in her heart you would have told her not to come to the UK.
Uh-huh. Do you know what? Another thing that annoys me, at some point I've signed up to an Andrew Tate mailing list, and every day 5 emails from this guy. Okay, I keep canceling it. He keeps sending them. No one cares. I'm just waiting on Sheena's email, and you know how the ADHD works. So, it's kind of freaking me out that there could be more to this, because the same person that met her there was the same person who went with her to the McCanns. Okay. And I'm not saying anything about anyone. I'm not bad mouthing anyone. I'm just saying, I don't know these people. I know Julia. And I wonder if it was Julia's idea not to tell me or keep it from me. Not that she has to tell me everything, but she's usually very excited when she's coming to the UK.
I'm gonna see in the news if there's any more developments. If there's any updates in the news, let's have a look. Last hour,
I'm just trying to make sure Sheena sees this email.
Yeah, just continuation of the same headline that was reported in the Mail. It looks like everyone's just rehashing it.
How did that? But that was fast, bro. Like that was fast.
Have you? Did you say you were able to contact Sinclair?
Yeah.
And has he responded or has he not?
Wait, I just got an email from the transport police.
Oh, did you?
What the fuck?
Let's swear in.
Sorry.
You received an email from them unsolicited.
No. This is something else. This is somebody giving me some information to call. So I'm gonna go call this now. Sorry, I'm just. It's
try her representative. This Sinclair guy.
I will do.
That's going to be the most direct line of access, I think.
Yeah, I've already spoken to him.
What's he saying?
He's just confirmed everything that was about to come out in the press. And he's got lawyers on standby. He's waiting on like someone contacting him, I guess. I don't know. This was before we done the live and before we went live. Well, let me
he's got lawyers poised to do whatever they can and bail her out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So bear with me, everyone. I'm just going to follow up on these numbers.
Let's see the chat coming in. Yeah, T-Bone is free, but it might be part of his conditions that he's not allowed to contact me. I'm going to, once I can contact him properly, I'm going to set up a podcast with T-Bone. He's one of the guys who was in Arizona prison. I'm just reading the chat. So I thought her DNA was already compared to Maddie's. No, that is a mainstream media fallacy, Rebecca. They've tried to destroy her, say she's crazy and she's 100% Polish in the past. But Julia and her fighting spirit have come back with a real DNA test, made international headline news about the linkage to the McCanns, and then boom, slapped down by the Gestapo at Bristol Airport. Sheena is saying lawyers have been arranged. Fantastic. That's what we want to hear. That's all we can do. Once the cops have got you in their clutches at the cop shop, what they will be doing right now is interrogating her, interviewing her, if she is amenable to that. Now, if she has been schooled on not speaking to the cops until your lawyer is present, which is the correct protocol, hopefully, I've never had a conversation with Julia about this scenario. I wish I had now. If I'd have known she was coming, we would have gone over this scenario. And she has the right not to speak, exactly. It's chapter pleading the fifth in America, isn't it? Because they will trick you into saying things that will be used against you in a court of law. So the first thing Julia should do is say to the police, I want to contact my representative, Sinclair, and I will only speak in the presence of my lawyer. And then if Sinclair has got a lawyer down at the cop shop, he goes ASAP, and he sits in the room with the cops while they are interviewing her, if he believes she should agree to even be interviewed. In the UK, pleading the fifth, it's called going no comment. So basically, they do sit in the room with you and ask you question after question after question, and you just say no comment at the end of each question. No comment in each question. No comment. There are people who feel that they are innocent of things, And they have ended up on death row because they have cooperated with the police, and the police have used tiny little fractions of what they said to send them for execution.